And a happy finally Friday morning, this 27th day of July 2018. Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz, and I guess I've done such a great job all week long that no one's joining me now here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley all by myself. It's a finally Friday edition. Coming up, we've got the latest local news. Grant Olson is going to fill in for Steve Hare, who's on vacation today, taking a 3-day break over the weekend. Much deserved, well deserved. And we'll get Grant in with the latest news. A lot of breaking news yesterday here in north central Washington, so more on that coming up. Look at our weather forecast on the way. We'll have Lisa Bradshaw joining us here a little bit later on this hour to talk about her program here, Life with Lisa, on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, but also her Don't Wait project. And she's got some really exciting news to share right here, so hold on for that. Mike Magnotti with Everybody's Entitled to Mike Magnotti's Opinion on the way. I'll get you up to date on the world of sports and some fundraisers in the world of sports happening both today and tomorrow for a local youth baseball team. But before we get anywhere, let's take a look around our Valley View cameras this morning, provided by Localtel's Sky-Fi network. And there you see the haze. Yeah, that kind of developed yesterday morning and continued through the day and just seemed to get smokier and smokier as the day progressed. So we had a lot of people asking us on Facebook and some phone calls to the TV station saying, where's the new fire? Well, not a new fire. It's just weather conditions are ripe for the smokes from the big fires in British Columbia. There's a pretty large-sized fire just outside of Kelowna to funnel this smoke down our neck of the woods, and so that is where the smoke is mostly coming from. Also, I guess Siberia. We have kind of a global event happening with the giant fires in Siberia, and atmospheric conditions created perfect scenario where the smoke would come our way. What we have here in our neck of the woods, nothing compared to what they're experiencing in Redding, California. We'll talk more about that as well coming up here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. To camera 2 we go. And Kat, do we have all 4 or do we just have the 2? Oh, okay. It's been an interesting morning here at the Broadcast Metroplex. Here we are, clear up above the Stemilt Basin. Looking down, boy, you can barely see Wenatchee in the distance there, and you can't even see Birch Mountain because of that smoke, but the lovely orchards of the Stemilt Basin in the foreground there. And it's going to be another hot one today. Temperatures in the upper 90s. We'll get you details on your forecast coming up. To camera 3 we go, and we say a grand good morning to the Quincy Valley as we look down upon Quincy from Monument Hill. That is Quincy, not Ephrata, right? Okay, yes, it is Quincy this morning. Good morning, Quincy. And boy, up on the Quincy Plateau, certainly smoky. So I imagine that means it's smoky for the folks in Waterville. You might have to go clear up to Stevens Pass and those higher elevations to get out of the smoke. And I don't even know if that'll get you out of the smoke. But good morning to the Quincy Valley this morning. And to camera 4 we go. We're going to find some smokeless conditions. Oh, look at that. Billy Goat. That's clear up above Pateros as we look down, and you can just see kind of through the haze and the smoke this morning, the Columbia River and the confluence there with the Methow River where it flows in at Pateros, and the bridge in the foreground there. In the background, you look up the river a little bit, you'll see Brewster. And of course, if we zoomed in, I don't know if we'd see it through the smoke or not, but at Brewster Pool, just up to the left there where the Okanagan flows into the Columbia River, there will be a mess of boats that are all fishing for sockeye salmon right now. I understand that the weekends have just been choked with people fishing for sockeye salmon, and it's been so successful. Oh, there we go on a little zoom. I don't know if we're going to get through that smog or not. And the smoke, but that is Brewster right there, that little finger of land that sticks out. And then of course the bridge off to the right there is that's the Bridgeport Bridge that goes over towards the Bridgeport side of the Columbia River. But just up from that little isthmus there, if you will, there's a ton of boats that are fishing for sockeye salmon, and here in a week they'll be fishing for king salmon. Next week, August 1st, they'll open up the Brewster Pool for king salmon fishing, and the Brewster Salmon Derby coming up next weekend. Let's take a look at our forecast as we get ready for this weekend here in north central Washington. Yes, hot conditions continuing here with the high pressure system. They were saying maybe a disturbance overnight last night, and now they're saying maybe a disturbance coming up tonight. We'll cross our fingers that if there is lightning, there will be rain with it. But we're in that pattern where it's hot and dry, low humidity, and I'm afraid that if we do get some lightning, it will not be a good scenario. 97 for our expected high today. We're at 66, so kind of a cooler start for the morning this morning. 96 on Saturday, 99 Sunday, and then look at that, 102 for Monday and Tuesday. And then maybe cooling off next week as we'll finally get this high pressure system to warble a little bit and kind of spin out of here and get a little low pressure air off the coast and get some breathing, and hopefully we'll get some of the smoke out here as well. Nighttime lows should be mostly in the 70s. We have that thermal blanket pattern that's happening where we get a few clouds late in the afternoon, early evening, and that kind of throws a blanket over the top of us for the evening hours. And so the thermal climb stays, and so temperatures are warm, and I feel badly for those who do not have air conditioning. Yeah, I do. Especially when there's no breeze at all and you leave the window open during the night and you smell that smoke outside, and unless you got a fan trying to suck some wind from outside in, that's just not happening. So again, 66 in Wenatchee as we get you through a finally Friday morning here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. One more day for me, and then Dan Kuntz, well, he's scheduled to be back on Monday. I don't know, he's at a big Kuntz family reunion over on the coast in Puget Sound, so we'll see if he shows up Monday or not. But nonetheless, we have a great morning stacked up for you here, and we will take a quick break and come back, and Grant Olson will have the latest from the NCW Life News Center. That's on the way next, and it's a presentation of Cascade Medical. Train with a physical therapist who loves the outdoors as much as you do. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
The physical therapists at Cascade Medical love the outdoors as much as you do. But sometimes where there's love, there's also pain. Let us help you get back to the activities that you love. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
Join me for Life with Lisa Bradshaw on NCW Life. It's not about my life, it's about yours.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Good Friday morning. I'm Grant Olson in for Steve Hare with a look at your morning news update. Authorities have now identified the young girl involved in a fatal traffic accident in the Leavenworth area on Wednesday night. Chelan County Coroner Wayne Harris says 9-year-old Emma Davenport of Leavenworth was struck and killed by a motorist at around 6:30 Wednesday night on Icicle Road near the intersection of Prowell Street. Sheriff Brian Burnett says a Chelan County deputy who was responding to a different non-emergency witnessed the collision and immediately requested medical aid and additional deputies. The deputy then began life-saving measures until being relieved by responding medical aid units. Attempts to revive the child were unsuccessful. An investigation was conducted on Wednesday night and did continue on Thursday with the assistance of the Washington State Patrol. The sheriff says the driver of the vehicle did not show any signs of impairment. Traffic was detoured onto East Leavenworth Road until around 11 p.m. A Rock Island man has been arrested and charged with the murder in the death of his wife. Douglas County Sheriff Kevin Morris tells us how events unfolded.
We were dispatched to a welfare check because a 68-year-old lady did not show up to work, and that was unusual. Deputy went there and didn't get an answer at the door, and for community caretaking, he went inside and he found her. Unfortunately, she was deceased and had some severe trauma to her head. And the investigation continued on through the night. We, with the assistance of WSP's crime scene team, our investigators working with a couple of WSP detectives, worked through the night. Ultimately, they ended up arresting her husband for murder in the second-degree domestic violence. The investigation is still extremely active. As a matter of fact, our investigators right now are actively serving warrants and continuing. So right now, this is all the information that we're able to release. But as soon as we get more information that we're able to release, we certainly will do that.
The victim has been identified as 68-year-old Peggy M. Tulilo of Rock Island. Arrested and booked into the Chelan County Regional Jail for murder is her 68-year-old husband, Yuli L. Tulilo, also of Rock Island. The Columbia Basin Herald reports that Grant County prosecutors have offered a plea deal to one of 3 suspects in the 2016 murder of Quincy resident Jill Sundberg near Royal City. The plea deal was offered by the state to 27-year-old Julio Cesar Albaran Verona, who involves the defendant entering a guilty plea to second-degree murder in connection with the December 2016 slaying of Sundberg, with an agreed sentencing recommendation of 220 months, which is a little over 18 years in prison. Albaran Verona would be required to testify against all co-defendants in the Sundberg case, as well as the defendants who are currently charged in the Royal City murder. He would also be required to fully cooperate with investigators and submit to interview requests. Albaran Verona is currently charged with first-degree murder with aggravating circumstances of armed with a firearm, acting with deliberate cruelty, drive-by shooting, and kidnapping, and in the lesser second-degree murder. Sundberg's body was recovered December 22, 2016, off of the Old Vantage Highway near George. Well, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office reports the Turtle Rock fire near Lincoln Rock State Park is now 80% contained and estimated at 720 acres. A level 1 evacuation advisory posted for 1 residence has been lifted, and boating restrictions between Orondo and Turtle Rock have been dropped since aircraft will not be accessing the Columbia River to fight that fire. Fire officials say the fire may be fully contained later this afternoon. A demobilization of BLM and DNR resources continued fighting that fire throughout the day yesterday. Well, the East Wenatchee City Council has given the green light to the city's Gateway Park project. At their scheduled Tuesday meeting, all council members, except for Chuck Johnson, voted in favor of proceeding with the project, which will be located at Ninth Street and Valley Mall Parkway. When bidding on the project began in April, 2 offers were submitted to the city, and both were almost $300,000 higher than the city's engineer's original estimate. Now, after downsizing and a few design adjustments, the project will proceed. The City of East Wenatchee provided this video rendering of how part of the Gateway project might look. Gateway project will also include a park and community plaza on property the city purchased in 2015. Total cost of the project is estimated at just under $517,000. Construction is expected to begin in the spring. Time now for NCW Life's Megan McPherson to fill us in on some of the events going on this weekend.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. The Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center is hosting their 2018 Summer Concert Series Beer Garden every Friday evening from 7 to 9 p.m. until August 24th. This Friday, Cheyenne will be performing. There is a $1 cover and beer and wine will be available for purchase. Come to the museum parking lot for a perfect view and listening spot. Must be 21 and over to enter. Cashmere has been ambushed by tiny little gnomes. Find Your Way Gnome Treasure Hunt is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in downtown Cashmere. Come for a treasure hunt and free family fun. Pick up a map for a self-guided hunt at the downtown info booth or at participating businesses. Locate all 11 treasure chests and use the stamp on site to mark your map. Once complete, return to the Cashmere Chamber info booth to claim your treasure. All completed maps will be entered in the grand prize giveaway. Also on Saturday in Cashmere is the Big Chill Cider Fest from 4 to 10 p.m. at Liberty Orchards. Presented by Cascade Farmlands, the Big Chill offers an abundance of taste from the region's flourishing cideries. Participants will receive a tote bag, commemorative glass, and a dozen taste tokens. The town's yummiest kitchens will be on site, and the Cashmere Museum will offer a glimpse into the history of local orchards. Staged right next to Liberty Orchards, home of applets and cotlets, come relax in the Big Chill Pavilion, complete with refreshing misters, and soak up live music as the sun sets. Music in the Meadow, Bruce Cockburn is this Saturday night on the Meadow stage at Icicle Creek Center for the Arts in Leavenworth at 7 p.m. One of Canada's finest artists, Bruce Cockburn has enjoyed an illustrious career shaped by politics, spirituality, and music diversity. His remarkable journey has seen him embrace folk, jazz, rock, and world beat styles while traveling to such far-flung places as Guatemala, Mali, Mozambique, and Nepal, and writing memorable songs about his ever-expanding world of wonders. Get your tickets online at icicle.org. And finally, ZZ Top will be performing at the Town Toyota Center Sunday night at 7. ZZ Top, aka that little old band from Texas, lay undisputed claim to being the longest-running major rock band with original personnel intact, and in 2004, the Texas trio was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Grab your tickets online at towntoyotacenter.com, by phone, or in person at the box office. For more information on this weekend's events, visit ncwlife.com.
And that's a look at your Friday morning news update. I'm Grant Olson in for Steve Hare, and I hope you join me later today for the NCW Life Evening News at 5, 6, and 10. Until then, have a great day.
Thank you much, Grant. We appreciate that. A little note for motorists this weekend, especially tomorrow. The Senator George Sella Bridge, they will be doing some inspection of the bridge, and the warning signs have said all week long to expect significant delays across the bridge this weekend. So if you're traveling from Wenatchee to East Wenatchee, vice versa, you might think about the North End Bridge at Odebashan rather than the South End Bridge at Senator George Sella Bridge. Again, that's tomorrow all day here in the Wenatchee Valley, inspections of the Senator George Sella Bridge. Well, the big news for Eastmont's Park and Rec Department is the splash pad is open. That's right, they started work on it back in May with the groundbreaking, and now yesterday was the official opening of the splash pad park. It's at Eastmont's County Park in East Wenatchee, just across the street from Eastmont High School, near the tennis courts. The splash pad is open for your enjoyment daily, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you saw the Miss Vidal themed their park. The splash pad now open in East Wenatchee. Well, last night got a chance to see, for me, the first time in person, the Concert in the Gardens series at Omi Gardens, put on by RLS Productions. Last night it was the Peter Rivera Band. Of course, very recognizable music from the 60s and 70s from Rare Earth, the drummer and lead singer for Rare Earth, Peter Rivera, now doing his own thing, and the rest of his musicians in his band, all from Spokane, as a matter of fact. Peter told some great stories last night about getting things started with Motown Records in Detroit and interweaved stories with music, and it was a wonderful night and a great view from Omi Gardens. There's one more concert left. Invisible Touch, a tribute to Phil Collins, will be next weekend, next Thursday at Omi Gardens as the series continues. Now, I was there with Marion last night, and we were enjoying the show and just the vestige there at Omi Gardens, and we were looking at Peter Rivera, and I'm telling you, I don't know how old he's got to be in his 70s anyway, and he's thumping away on the drums, and how you can play the drums and sing at the same time, I'm not quite sure, but Marion leaned to me and she whispered to me, she says, "Who does he look like?" I said, what do you mean? She says, he looks familiar. And I said, well, yeah, he's Peter Rivera from Rare Earth. She says, no, I can't think of it. So we're driving home last night, and then she came up with it. She says, he looks like Mr. Drummond. He does. He does. It was Mr. Drummond from Different Strokes, the old TV show with Gary Coleman and, remember, what you talking about, Willis? That was a pretty good comparison, I think. So, but a great concert last night, and thanks to Brenda at LocalTel for giving us some tickets to go to that last night. It was a good time. As we continue on here, 21 minutes past the hour on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. 68 degrees in the valley, reaching for a high today of 97. Going to be hot and sticky all weekend long. And sports news. We have some sports happening in the streets, and we're going to wash some cars for a good cause. We'll get you that on the way next on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Granstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
Did you know that our pets can put on extra weight just like us? Obesity is the most common preventable disease in dogs and cats. Your pet's excess weight can lead to health issues like joint pain, arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure, and more. Dr. Shauna Bayes and the staff at Paws and Claws Veterinarian Hospital care about your pets, and they can help you keep them lean and healthy. Call Paws and Claws today at 888-PAWS or find them on the corner of 4th and Isle in East Wenatchee.
22 minutes past the hour here on this finally Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Eric Granstrom in for Dan Kuntz. One more time around here on this Friday as we celebrate the 27th of July. We'll talk more about celebration coming up in just a moment. Right now, sports news on the NCW Life channel. A reminder that a local group of boys will be headed to the World Series soon, and they're holding a couple of fundraisers this weekend. The Wenatchee 12U baseball team will have a couple of car washes. They'll be today at Morris Little League Park on Cherry Street in Wenatchee from 5 to 7:30, and then tomorrow they're going to be out there in the heat and trying to raise some funds at Northern Fruit. That's on Grant Road, in fact not too far from LocalTel, and their office there from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow with that fundraiser, so they can help defray some of the costs of heading to the World Series in Phoenix City, Alabama, just a couple of weeks away. So help out the boys get their way there. The 12U Cal Ripken team from Wenatchee. You can also help them out by donating through, they've got a GoFundMe page, and then also Cashmere Valley Bank, an account has been set up through Wenatchee Youth Baseball, so you can make a donation there as well. Well, speaking of baseball, for the second night in a row, the Wenatchee Apple Sox won in walk-off fashion over the Cowlitz Black Bears, this time on a bases-loaded RBI single by Jacob Prater in the bottom of the ninth. The game was a back-and-forth seesaw battle from the get-go. Cowlitz took the lead, scoring on the fifth pitch of the game on a solo home run by Ryan Kim. Wenatchee tied it in the bottom of the first on Connor McCord's RBI single. Both teams would play another run in the third before the Bears grabbed the lead on Dutton Elske's solo home run and Tony Boyetto's RBI double. Oh boy, Boyetto. But again, Wenatchee would come back to tie it in the fifth on Prater's two-run single. Each team scored again in the seventh. That would set things up for the ninth. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Prater at the plate.
2 outs in the bottom of the ninth inning. It's 5-5 between the Apple Sox and the Cowlitz Black Bears. Prater is 1 for 4 tonight. The aforementioned RBI single in the fifth inning. In the middle of a 2-run frame for the Sox. He plated both runs. First pitch, swung on, hit in the air to left field, and that's going to drop in. Back-to-back walk-offs to win the series. Jacob Prater, the Wenatchee native, comes through.
There you go. Good crowd on hand last night at Paul Thomas Senior Field. Joel Norman with the call on the Apple Sox Radio Network. The video courtesy of the Apple Sox Facebook live feed. Sox win 2 of 3 from Cowlitz and now head on the road to Bend for the first of 3 games tonight at 6:35. Let's head to the Les Schwab scoreboard and take a look at what else happened in the West Coast League last night. Chad Stevens' 3-run home run in the 7th gave Corvallis a 6-1 lead, and despite giving up a 3-run shot to Garrett Kelly in the 8th, they still hung on to beat Kelowna by a final of 6-4. Knights completed the 3-game sweep with the win. Joel Casillas and 2 relievers held Bend to a 6-hit shutout in Portland's 3-0 win at Vince Jenna Stadium. Pickles swept all 3 of those games with the Elks. Bellingham won its 30th game of the season in a seesaw 5-4 victory at home against Port Angeles. The Bells have now won 6 straight. Rowdy Jordan, love that name, went 3 for 4 with 2 runs, 4 RBI, and a 2-run home run to lead Victoria to a 6-4 win over Walla Walla. The win helped the Harbor Cats sweep the Sweets in that series. Also, Kyle Dean, how about this day at the plate? He went 4 for 5, had a grand slam, had 3 doubles, and 7 RBIs to lead Yakima Valley. That's not a misprint there. 21-5 the final over Gresham. In fact, Gresham just hoisted the white flag in the 8th inning and says, we're done. In fact, you go to the West Coast League site and it says forfeited, because they just didn't want to do it anymore. It was hot in Yakima, and they're down 21-5, and they're just done. I don't blame them much. Coming up across the West Coast League tonight, we've got new series underway. We mentioned Wenatchee at Bend. Cowlitz hosting Yakima Valley, Walla Walla at Port Angeles, Portland hosting Bellingham, and in a non-league tilt, it's Corvallis hosting the Hayesville Hammers. I don't know if they bring hammers with them or not. What we have on the weekend sports calendar, it's a busy one. We mentioned Sunburn Classic 3-on-3 basketball tournament takes over Wenatchee Avenue from Orondo to Yakima. That's tomorrow and Sunday, so a note for motorists. There's going to be a section of Wenatchee Avenue closed for this. This is from kids 5 years all the way up to adults. Going to be a fun weekend, a fun atmosphere too. If you haven't been to it, you don't have to go and play basketball. Just go and watch. It's a neat deal here on the Avenue. Sunburn Classic 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Evergreen Mountain Bike Foundation is hosting an event. This is for level 2 skill people. So they say if you haven't done level 1, you might skip this one because you need to have them in order. But that's happening at Squilchuck State Park tomorrow. And hot night of racing Saturday night at Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. It's the Jerry Bershauer Memorial. Races featured pro late models in a twin 50, street stocks, Thunder Cars, Pro 4 Alliance, the Bandoleros. Gates open at 5, racing starts at 6:30. Well, the Mariners are in Anaheim to take on the Angels tonight in the first of 3 games. Wade LeBlanc gets a start on the mound. He has a 6-1 record. He's, 3.44 earned run average. He's been great so far this season. Meanwhile, the Halos will throw up Andrew Heaney in opposition. He's 6-6 with a 3.66 ERA. That game starts tonight at 7:07. There was some action in the American League West last night as we open up the Les Schwab scoreboard again. 2 teams combined for 9 home runs in the game, but the Angels came out on top of the White Sox 12-8 in Anaheim. Matt Chapman hit his 12th homer of the season and had 2 triples to lead Oakland. Yes, they won again, 6 in a row now, a 7-6 decision over Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, the Oakland A's have won 27 of their last 34 games. That's ridiculous. Can they continue this streak through the month of August? We'll see about that. Seattle being idle, Oakland now just a game back of the Mariners for that final wild card spot in the American League. Well, the Seahawks continue their training camp in Renton, sponsored by Safeway. After their first day of real practice yesterday, head coach Pete Carroll and linebacker Bobby Wagner talked about the feel among the players that they all have something to prove.
It's really been part of the mentality that's made these guys kind of in this mode of they're really grinding, and they're really fired up about working and making right and all that. And there's so many areas for us to improve from last season. It's so obvious, and it's already underway.
You know, I definitely feel like there's a different energy, different vibe. I feel like everybody's hungry. Everybody has something to prove, and that brings an excitement. We're glad we got Coach Norton back. It's fun to have his energy back. You know, I can't say it enough, so you know, I'm excited for this year.
The whole time it has been like that throughout the offseason, and just the outlook of it you could see, and it's just brought again, and they're telling you, a sense of urgency that feels good and feels right, and I'm really excited about it. And today was a freaking blast, you know, so couldn't ask for more.
You got to love the energy of Pete Carroll, that's for sure. Seahawks prepping for their first preseason game just 13 days away against the Indianapolis Colts at CenturyLink Field. That's a look at sports news at 30 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this 27th day of July 2018. Our obscure holiday of the day today, I've never heard of this in my life, but it's National Take Your Houseplant for a Walk Day. Why? Well, I guess if there's some folks that talk to their houseplants and they have conversations with their houseplants, and so sure, why not take them for a walk? Proud plant owners can show off their leafy friends to the neighborhood when taking their house plant for a walk day rolls around. Idea behind this day is to celebrate plants and to acquaint plants with their immediate environment, which is supposed to be healthy for the plants. I'm thinking of my house. I don't have one single house plant. Not one, because I would probably kill it. Plant owners can admire one another's plants and exchange tips and ideas on how to take care of their plants. It's National Take Your House Plant for a Walk Day today. Now, if you got a little one, I'm sure you could probably just carry it under your arm and pet it as you go and talk to it. Say, look, it's a beautiful day. Just if you have those plants that are susceptible to heat and sunshine, you might want to not take them outside today. Just leave them. So ferns, do you have a fern, Kat? You don't have a fern? Okay. All right. Usually ferns are in the bathroom or near the shower or near a wet environment. Yeah. It was something you certainly wouldn't want to take outside on National Take Your Houseplant for a Walk Day. By the way, it's also National Take Your Pants for a Walk Day today. Yeah, I think maybe somebody misheard the plant thing and they thought, oh, you take your pants for a walk. And that's all about just getting out and taking a walk and just being healthy. Today in history, July 27th. It was back on this date in 1806. Attempting to stop a band of young Blackfoot Indians from stealing horses, Meriwether Lewis shoots an Indian in the stomach. That's a pretty good depiction right there. They had finished the quest. They had made their way to the Pacific Northwest, got out to the coast, and Lewis and Clark were on their way back to Missouri, and they split up. They decided that, Lewis is going to take some this way, Clark's going to take some this way. Lewis had just a few guys with him, and then they split that group up even further, which was not the best idea because he knew he was in Blackfoot Indian country. And they met up with a band of Indians. When they first had a conversation, this would have been yesterday, back in 1806. Things looked good. They camped down for the night, but then one of his men awakened him early in the morning shouting, hey, they're taking our horses and guns. And sure, he got up and then started to chase after them. And one of the natives turned and pointed an old musket his way, and fearing for his life, boom, shot him in the stomach. They made it out of there and were able to get some of their horses back. But yeah, little known fact about the Lewis and Clark expedition on the way back in 1806. 1974, on this date, July 27th, the House Judiciary Committee recommends that America's 37th President, Richard Milhous Nixon, be impeached and removed from office. The impeachment proceedings resulted from a series of political scandals involving the Nixon administration, collectively known as Watergate. It was on this date in 1974. And it was on this date in 2003 that Mr. Entertainment Bob Hope passed away at the age of 100 years old in Toluca Lake, California. Known for entertaining American veterans and servicemen all across the world for 5 decades. This guy had quite the career. Vaudeville, radio, movies, television. In fact, he has 50 movies to his credit. Bob Hope passed away on this date in 2003. Celebrating birthdays today, we have 3 to mention. Maya Rudolph, who's a very funny comedian and an excellent writer and excellent actress, as a matter of fact, for Saturday Night Live. Bridesmaids, Grown Ups, Life is a Party was her latest in 2018. Maya Rudolph is celebrating her 46th birthday today. Well, former Seattle Mariner, and a lot of them after he left the Mariners to go to Texas for a huge contract, biggest of its kind at that point in baseball history, called him Boo Rod. For the rest, he was known as A-Rod. And I'll tell you what, Alex Rodriguez, despite the unpopular stance he took and kind of wayward way he had with people, 14-time All-Star, and holds the Major League record for the most, or second most, 8 of them, second most seasons with 40-plus home runs. Now, was he on the juice? That's for you to decide. But Alex Rodriguez is 43 today. Also celebrating a birthday from the world of sports, Jordan Spieth. He's only 25 years old, and he's already won the U.S. Open, the Masters, the Open Championship, and the PGA Championship. He has 4 major wins at the age of 25. Jordan Spieth is celebrating his 25th birthday today. Happy birthday to Jordan. Happy birthday to you if it's your birthday on this 27th of July. 2018 is worth 35 minutes past the hour. We're going to take a break and come back. Mike Magnotti and his opinion coming up next, and also we'll be joined by Lisa Bradshaw with Life with Lisa, and the Don't Wait Project with some exciting news is coming your way next on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I have a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
It's just so much more hands-on and friendly than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted.
We've just been grateful for the care and respect that we've been given there.
And here when I come to visit my doctor, I'm not afraid to ask questions.
It's not just about getting you in and out.
I love my care at CVCH. It's awesome. Give it a try.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your Stoke?
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Oh, hey Nate, what you doing there?
I'm just reading a book.
A book? I didn't even know they made those anymore. Where'd you get it?
Right down the street at Yield Bookshop.
Yield Bookshop? I'm gonna go check it out.
If you're looking for a good book to read, or you're in the market for some beautiful handcrafted creations from local artisans, look no further than Yield Bookshop right in the heart of downtown Wenatchee.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, you know, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging in Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to come down and check out what we're all about at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Great beer, good food, and an endless source of entertainment for the whole family. Our Honey Blonde beer is flying off the shelves at your local grocery store. But I tell you what, it's even better on tap. And while you're here, try our signature Badger sauce with one of our delicious meals. Whether you're in the mood for a wrap, salad, pizza, or nachos, Badger Mountain Brewing has what you're looking for.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I've told you about this Amazon Echo thing that I have in my house that my wife and I got. This thing echoes and answers when I talk to it. Well, some of my friends have advised me, they've warned me, don't get this thing because they say that all this Echo Alexa thing is a tool for the government to eavesdrop. Those folks say the CIA or whoever is hacking into our Echoes, our droids, and our iPhones and listening to everything we say. Well, I say that if the government really wants to hear Rosie and I argue about whose turn it is to thaw out some identifiable freezer bag for dinner, well, they're more than welcome to listen if they want to. Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Vamanos junk haulers are pleased to announce they've added moving services to their list of ways to make your life easier. Vamanos Moving Service. No move is too big or small. In fact, Vamanos does it all. Vamanos employees are experienced at moving your home, office, business, and storage. They'll carefully load and unload your belongings. And for the do-it-yourselfers, Vamanos also rents trucks and cargo trailers. Call Vamanos Junk Haulers and Moving Service today to schedule your free estimate.
Boating is a great way to bring family and friends together. At Bob File Boats and Motors, they have the boats for any lifestyle: fishing, wakeboarding, or just relaxing on the water. Buying a new boat is more affordable than you might think at Bob File Boats and Motors. Online at bobfile.com or on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
We're here to celebrate every season with award-winning dining, full-service spa, and 170 waterfront guest rooms. Come experience our tradition of hospitality at Campbell's Resort on Lake Chelan.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
Another hazy, smoky morning here in the Wenatchee Valley. 70 degrees, reaching for a high of 97 today. Going to be hot this weekend, so find yourself a place next to some water and some air conditioning and relax this weekend. Appreciate you joining us here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Joining me now in studio is a very recognizable face here for the NCW Life channel. It's Lisa Bradshaw with Life with Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having
coming in
me.
so early on this Friday.
Yeah, a little earlier than my shift, my normal shift.
Yeah. So you've got some really exciting news. First of all, I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all of us here at NCW Life Channel, all of our viewers, for giving us a window into your world with your program, and then with the Don't Wait Project, and then taking us with you on your travel.
Yeah.
It was a really neat thing.
It was a really good time, and it was a lot of work, but it was all for, I mean, I think that I couldn't have known how it would turn out, and I think it exceeded my expectations, which is kind of always the hope.
Let's back up just a little bit here for those, maybe we got a new audience that hasn't seen you before, and hopefully you should, because Lisa's show is on the NCW Life channel Wednesdays a couple of times at 1 and 6:30, and then we've added more times to it. You can watch her show Fridays at 10 in the morning and Saturdays at noon here, and it's also on demand at ncwlife.com. But for people who don't know your story, kind of give us a quick synopsis of you coming to television. You did a radio show for a long time, I know, but it also started with tragedy in your life.
Yeah, I really just was trying to carve a career out for myself that allowed me to be home by 3 o'clock every day when my son got home, because I'd lost my husband when my son was 5. And I just really wanted to be there, and so I started with the radio show, and I was given the opportunity to do a lot of community outreach for that time and that part of my career, and then I did that for 5 years, and that's about the time I started the Don't Wait Project, and this community helped me with seed money start that nonprofit, and so that's been since 2011, and it's grown and changed, and it's become this storytelling vehicle.
Well, and you've written a book, and
I've written two books. The first
now.
one's a long time ago and out of print, and working on the third, which would come a lot from this tour that we're talking about. So. Then you find folks invited me to do the show, which is a wonderful platform to do the work that I want to do in this community, but also throughout the country on this trip. So it's a great marriage of both.
So what is the Don't Wait Project?
So it really comes from, I'm a cancer survivor, 22 years now. I was 24 when I was first diagnosed. Didn't know if I could have children. We were newly married, and I have a son who's 19 now, so that worked out. And then the loss of my husband, and I just really wanted to try to make good of something really horrifically tragic and get people thinking about the don't waits. I call them the nouns in life, the people, places, things, and ideas that we give up on along the way, and getting people to think about what's important and why it's important, and to live your life in that direction.
Providing that example through your own lessons has been fun to watch, and I'm sure scary for you at times, but also to watch that and what other people are doing, that they're not waiting, they're living for today, because you're never guaranteed tomorrow.
Well, it's interesting. Last week I got a text from a good friend saying, hey, we've been following the Don't Wait tour and we've decided we're moving to Phoenix. We've been putting it off for like 10 years and we're moving. And I'm like, but wait, our kids are friends. I've known you so long. And then I got a picture from a friend yesterday of stitches on her hand because she'd been needing to have a mole checked, that I told her, you have a month to go get that done because we're friends, and she was concerned, and so why not just go get it taken care of? So it's a range, you know.
That has to be both rewarding for you, and I would feel a little nervous for you too, because it's almost as if you're giving advice, you know, okay, move to Phoenix. You know, it's like, if it doesn't work out, don't blame me.
Right. I've always said that, you know, the don't wait, everyone has one, and it's just kind of plugging into that. So for me, you know, I moved here, you know, I saw this valley open up to me one day, and I was on a long trip with my son, and I moved here. I bought a house like in a couple of days, which I think you're going to see a little later in the show. But, you know, I just don't think there's really that big a risk to take that you can't fix what you do. As long as you're operating from your heart in a good place, most often good things will happen.
So how much do you believe in signs?
In what?
Signs.
Like, signs.
This was a sign for me to move to Wenatchee. This was
sure.
a sign for me to take this tour, that type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of things that, I think when you lose someone who you plan to spend your whole life with, and you've got a young son, like I did, for me it was, that's all, I was looking for that all the time. Like, am I doing this right? Is this what you would have said? Is this how we would have handled it? And so then you eventually get some confidence in yourself that you're paying enough attention to the world around you that maybe you aren't making the mistakes you think you are. So that's kind of where I learned that skill of tuning into what is real for my life and just looking out for my kid.
If you look back 25 years ago and yourself is looking at you 25 years later, and especially all the things you've done like in the past 5 years, would you ever had guessed that you would be where you are now?
In some ways, I didn't know how I would get there. I didn't know that I would lose so much, but learn so much. I was starting writing my first book at that time. I was in college to learn more about writing. I was raised to go after your life. And so I would have done that in some form. So I just am really grateful for, you know, certainly there were times I just didn't want to sign up for this life of mine, you know, like get involved in it every single day and have to do the work it takes to overcome so much. But, you know, every single day waking up with my son and just making sure that we could learn, not in spite of what happened to his dad, but because, you know, we still had greatness in our lives. We still had work to do. We were here for a reason. So in some form, yeah, something good was going to happen for me, I would hope.
It takes a lot of bravery to do that.
Perhaps. But when you don't know any different.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You don't have much of a choice.
No.
Kind of that it is what it is thing.
It is what it is.
We're going to take a break and come back. Lisa's here to share some exciting news, but we're also going to take a look at kind of a synopsis of her first tour with the Don't Wait Project that we broadcast here on the NCW Life channel. We will do that coming up next on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Stay there.
Eastern Washington. It's a great place to call home and a great time to own a home. It's the ideal place to lay down roots for your family and your future. Gisa Credit Union thinks Eastern Washington is a great place to own a home too. That's why we offer all kinds of home loans with personal attention every step of the way. We're your home. For home loans, we're Gisa Credit Union.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen and the cabinets and the floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time. Merry Maids.
Looking for a hands-on, high-demand job? Now is the perfect time to get trained for a career in manufacturing. Washington currently has a shortage of skilled tradespeople, and retirements are making room for more. The machining program at Wenatchee Valley College is designed to give students the foundation to excel in this precision industry. Don't wait, there are only 15 spots left. A 2-year degree and a 1-year certificate are available. Learn more at wvc.edu/machining.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
51 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Finally Friday. Eric Granstrom along with Lisa Bradshaw of the Life with Lisa program here on the NCW Life Channel, but more importantly, the Don't Wait Project. And you had a really fun experience here this past year. What happened and how did that happen?
Well, my son left for college in the fall, and I figured I needed a plan B for myself. Really kind of built my life around that whole life we had together, as many parents do. And so I had this idea that I could take, not really my show on the road, because I had the idea before I had the show, that I would travel the country in a camper and interview people about their don't wait stories. All kinds of stories, so it'd speak to whomever was watching. And I pitched it to Toyota, Town Toyota, and they said yes. And I pitched my budget, and they said yes. And then we got Apache Camping Center in Seattle to provide the camper that they worked out a deal with Toyota. And Les Schwab wrapped my car, and Signs Now gave us a good deal in Moses Lake. So it was just this whole step by step by step, and mapped out the tour and ended up traveling 7 states in 6 weeks.
Well, we appreciate you taking the camera with you, because you had certainly...
yeah, it was one camera, one person, one camera.
And she was editing this while you were on the road, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gave yourself quite a challenge there.
Yeah, I think that doing fun promos on the road would have been a better idea, and then doing the shows when I got back. And that ended up being forced, because my computer died a couple weeks before I was done. And actually, talk about a sign to slow down and enjoy the rest and figure out what to do differently next time.
Well, let's take a look at a little bit of the tour with Lisa Bradshaw and the Don't Wait Project.
Thank you so much
for all that you've done for me.
Oh, for camping, I get it.
So, like it says, the world needs some more people like you.
Some more people like me. How cute is that?
So, thank
for my
you so
camping
much.
trip.
I feel so honored that I got to be your first stop on the Don't Wait Project, and I have so much luck with the rest
Thank
of the
you
tour.
so much.
This is amazing.
Good morning. I am in Vancouver, Washington, and it's really chilly. Hopefully, hearing your story will make people appreciative of what they've got and their ability to be here. And that's the number one thing, like you said, just being here. That's a gift. So I'm here with my friend Roman, my new friend, at the NOAA Center, and he is going to show us around. He is the YouTube sensation who helps friendly dogs find friendly homes. Right?
Right. So I'm here to get dogs adopted. Isn't that right, Max?
But let's just hope the person who, or the people who really need it, see it, find it.
And you're not alone in the boat. You are, and you're not.
Yeah.
So.
You ready, Liv?
Yay.
Hi, I am coming to you from Northern California. I've made it about 1,000 miles this week.
and I am heading to Weaverville, California. I have a great story to tell there. I'm also supposed to perform at an open mic. Don't know the song yet on the guitar, but I got a couple days to plan.
I've been on national television. I host a radio show and a TV show. I've talked in front of hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and I've never been more nervous than I am at this moment right now.
That's so inspiring. And you can't help but be touched, I imagine, by every person you meet along that journey.
For sure. Some of the stories were planned ahead of time. I had to make sure I had, content. And some were just people I met on the street or people that I met when I was interviewing someone else. It was humbling and amazing, and to get to tell stories for a living is pretty, it's all I ever wanted to do.
Well, thank you for telling your story with us.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the big news.
Okay.
What's happening this year?
So, fun story. I got back from the trip, and Town Toyota was very happy and pleased with everything that they contributed and what I did with what they contributed. So they said, okay, but let's get bigger Toyota involved. And so they invited me down to their regional meeting, and I got in front of the right people, and they said this is a great idea. So now National Toyota is matching Town Toyota's budget. So now I get a bigger camper, and I get to stand in the camper and maneuver inside the camper, and kitchen's on the inside, and that'll be nice. I really enjoyed the other one, but I'm going across the country now. Yeah. So I'm going to pick up the vehicle in Dallas and go to Florida and back, 12 southern states. And that'll be again next spring break. So I left this year when my son left after spring break. Then I was gone while he was gone, and then we met back up here, about the time he was done with his first year. So a lot of things planned for that. April is Organ Donation Awareness Month, and the hospital where my husband received his double lung transplant is along the way. They do a lot of reuniting donors and families and that sort of thing, the families of donors in that month throughout the country. So we'll get some stories out of that and hopefully bring awareness to that, and just a whole different deal. And I also get to take a camera person with me. So a professional who can help me tell a story, because there's a lot that's missed. I can't be on both sides of the camera. And so that'll be helpful. But they'll hopefully have their own space in their own car, because I'm kind of a loner that way. I'd rather travel by myself.
So that's start when?
Spring break next. So next, I think it's March 16th. Okay. I'll leave from Dallas. Yeah, that's the plan.
How exciting and scary and fun and
not scary.
No?
No. And you know what, I have to say that the whole time I was gone, people treated me really well. Even in the Los Angeles traffic, as long as I had my blinker on, they knew where I wanted to go. I don't know if they'd Googled the car or what, but they let me over. And I mean, I didn't travel the desert part alone. I was really deliberate, making sure that I was, safe. I was smart about it. So
I was telling Lisa when we met here last week that this is national. She's going to go big time. She'll be a syndicated program, that type of thing. But for now, this is home?
Yeah, it's home.
Okay.
Yeah, it's home. And there's a last little clip I share that's just the last bit of the trip that it just reiterates for me what home is.
Okay, let's take a look.
Of the 5,086 miles I traveled for the tour, the most beautiful stretch was the last 50 miles. As I approached Wenatchee, I remembered my son and I visiting Leavenworth in 2004. He was only 5 years old, and it was just months after his father had died. As I drove into the valley that day, the skies parted and the sun shined so brightly on the Columbia River, it took my breath away. I found a realtor that day and bought a house 2 days later, moving here from Houston 14 years ago. It was, by far, one of the best decisions I've ever made. And for as long as it took for anywhere to feel like home again, when returning from the tour, I was reminded there is no place like home.
And we're so lucky that you're here.
Thank you. I'm lucky to be here. I'm really grateful.
So how do we find out more about the Don't Wait Project?
Don'tWaitProject.org, Facebook, Don't Wait Project, and Instagram, Don't Wait Project. So the website has, a wealth of information. I'm told maybe too much information, but I don't think there's ever too much information. So, yeah, and some of our other programs that we do. I mean, it's not just this tour. We do an anti-bullying program. We've been doing in schools here for several years, and other things that that we worked on with partnering in the community. So.
Don't Wait Project and Life with Lisa right here on the NCW Life channel. You can watch it here on the during the week on Wednesdays at 1 and 6:30, on Fridays at 10 o'clock in the morning, Saturdays at noon. It's Life with Lisa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your getting up early and joining us here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
Today.
Sunny and hot today. We're off to a good start on that. 70 degrees in the Wenatchee Valley, reaching for a high of 97. Get out there and enjoy it, but stay cool. Have a good weekend.